Whether you're a history buff, a foodie, or just looking for adventure, there's something here for everyone in Phnom Penh. This isn't my first visit to Phnom Penh. I lived in Cambodia several years ago and made frequent trips to the city. This city is packed with beautiful and historic Buddhist temples and palaces, chaotic streets, and hectic markets. A trip here is always loaded with excitement and packed with things to see and do. One of the most visited and lively places here in Phnom Penh is Riverside Park. This lovely promenade follows the river Tonle Sap for many blocks. So we're here on the promenade and it's mid-morning. And as you can see, for Phnom Penh, this is relatively calm. But this evening, it's going to be a whole different story. People really turn out to revel in the diverse eating and entertainment options you can find here. You can truly feel the heartbeat of the city here. Wat Phnom, or Mountain Pagoda, is a 150-foot-high Buddhist temple pagoda that symbolizes the founder of Phnom Penh, Lady Dawn Penh. It also serves as the main venue for the Khmer New Year and many other Buddhist celebrations. The grounds surrounding Wat Phnom offer a beautiful, relaxing green space to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city for a little bit, sit in the shade, cool off. The grounds have manicured lawns, big beautiful shade trees, beautiful sculptures and artwork covering the grounds that are amazing to see. And an added bonus for me was toucans live in the trees here. They're absolutely beautiful to see. And of course there's some monkeys here too, which is also a nice surprise. I am standing here on the banks of the Tonle Sap River. It is the rainy season here in Southeast Asia. And this time of year you can observe a truly strange occurrence that takes place here at the confluence of the Tonle Sap and the mighty Mekong. At the north end of the river is the Tonle Sap Lake, the largest lake in Southeast Asia. So at the end of the dry season, there is only about a meter of water left in the lake. When the rainy season starts and the waters of the Mekong start to swell, the course of the Tonle Sap River actually changes as the water is pushed back and the lake is refilled for yet another year. Follow the Tonle Sap down to where it meets the mighty Mekong River and you will find the stunning Royal Palace. This is one of the absolute must-visit places here in Phnom Penh. These beautiful grassy spaces in front of the Royal Palace offer more places for locals and tourists to relax. It is absolutely packed during any holiday or festival. Unfortunately, the palace is closed right now for some renovations, but luckily we have been here a couple of times before and we have some stunning pictures to share with you. So right off the riverside is this beautiful monastery. You can come in for free and walk around, and there's a huge gong over here. I mean, there are statues everywhere. The buildings themselves are wonderful to look at. So we're going to walk around here and take it all in. So we found out the name of this temple is the OunaLom Pagoda, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but the sign says that they warmly welcome foreigners and charitable donations, but please, no chaos. So we're going to look around here and try not to cause any chaos. We've been all over Southeast Asia and we've seen a lot of gongs and we've banged a lot of gongs, but this is the biggest gong I've ever seen, and I wish they'd let us bang it. So here on the monastery grounds there are many beautiful trees and plants and flowers, but I saw this tree with this wild vine growing off of it that puts out these most beautiful blossoms, and I have no clue what this is, but it is stunning and it's so unusual. I've never seen anything like this. So we were walking from the monastery to the museum, and we found out that the museum is closed for lunch, so we thought we'd grab a bite to eat, and just walked a little ways down the street and we found this David's Noodles, and it said order the noodles if you want to see the show. I couldn't resist. I had to order the noodles. Built in 1920, this beautiful Khmer style building behind me is the National Museum of Cambodia. It houses the largest historical and archaeological collection in all of Cambodia. The museum houses over 14,000 pieces in its collection, ranging from prehistoric times through the heights of the Khmer Empire and after. I just finished going through the National Museum and it is well worth the $10 entry fee. There are so many amazing artifacts in there, going all the way back to the 3rd century BC. Photography and filming are only allowed outside and in the courtyard of the museum. I'm here at the Central Market this morning. This beautiful Art Deco building behind me was built in 1937 and is supposed to be an amazing shopping experience, and I'm ready to do some shopping. Inside the Central Market, you can find jewelry, electronics, food, and lots of clothing. So I got up this morning and had some coffee and some breakfast, and then I came to the market, which was a big mistake because the market is full of little food stalls that look completely amazing. I should have eaten breakfast here, but I did find myself a brand new outfit, pants and t-shirt for $8 total, and so I'm very happy. There are several large markets around town, including the Old Market and the Russian Market. And there are numerous market streets all over the city where you can find lots of fresh produce and prepared meals at very reasonable prices. Walking around Phnom Penh can be a bit of an adventure. While many of the main streets do have crosswalks, that doesn't mean traffic will stop. The sidewalks are also not really for walking. They are utilized more for parking scooters and cars and for setting up seating for restaurants. There is often no other option than walking down the road through traffic. Although we do walk to do a lot of things, sometimes the hot climate can be a bit overwhelming. Luckily, there are tuk-tuks everywhere, which make it really easy and really affordable to get around the city. There are many types of tuk-tuks as well. Pulled by a motorcycle is the classic chariot type of tuk-tuk. The more modern versions are smaller and more enclosed. Here in Phnom Penh, they even have eco-friendly electric ones. You can hail one on any street, or here in Cambodia, they have the Pass app, where you can order a ride from your phone. Today, we had our tuk-tuk take us to the Golden Temple, which is about a 30-minute ride across the Tonle Sap, where we got some really nice views of Phnom Penh. Golden Temple is known by this name because of its lavish use of gold paint, and it is very stunning to see. The original temple is about 50 years old, but in the last couple of years has received renovations and additions that are still ongoing. We were lucky enough to be here during Phnom Penh, which is an annual Buddhist festival, and there were people everywhere. We also were able to hear the monks chanting and giving blessings. It didn't matter that we were tourists, the people were so friendly. We were able to go inside and observe and take pictures. Our next stop was Monkey Temple. True to its name, it had little monkeys swinging from the trees. It also had a large variety of stupas, or shrines, of all ages here, some of them quite beautiful. We were followed by a group of small children the whole time. I think the only English word they knew was hello, and they used it liberally. We just caught a tuk-tuk and we're on our way to Silk Island. So we got a tuk-tuk to take us to Silk Island, and the tuk-tuk brought us across the bridge over the Tonle Sap, and now we're going to have to, the tuk-tuk has to get on a ferry to take us across the Mekong to Silk Island. We have done similar tours of silk production in other parts of Asia, but this trip to Silk Island, just outside of Phnom Penh, was far more informative and in-depth as we were able to observe each stage of the silkworm's life. So we learned that these cocoons, if there is a male inside, he can weave up to 500 meters of one silk strand. And if it's a female, she can weave up to 300 meters of just one solid silk strand. This is the cocoon's natural color. Beautiful. We were also able to observe the final steps in the process as they dye the cocoons, spin them into thread, and then weave the threads into these beautiful traditional patterns. So they're selling these beautiful handmade silk scarves, tablecloths, runners, all handmade right here, 100% silk. You can watch them make them. They are so beautiful. $15 for this scarf. I have to get it. So we're back on the ferry after our tour of Silk Island. Nice breeze blowing. The tour was wonderful, but now we're headed back to the mainland. The next morning, we headed out on what we thought would be a 1-hour tuk-tuk ride north of Phnom Penh to Oudong, which was the old capital of Cambodia. But due to heavy holiday traffic and road construction, it turned into a much longer adventure. So we've been in the tuk-tuk for 3 hours. What is normally a 1-hour ride out here to Phnom Oudong, or Oudong Mountain, turned into a 3-hour ride due to highway construction, which of course made for heavy traffic, but we're here now and I can't wait to see it. Being the Phnom Penh holiday, Oudong was completely packed. It was also an extremely hot day and we had to climb the steps to the top of the mountain. So we finally made it to the top of Phnom Oudong. It seemed like thousands and thousands of steps. I know it wasn't, it was probably about 800. But as you can tell by looking at my face, it's pretty warm out here. But it is beautiful up here. This is the old capital of Cambodia. It was the capital from 1600 to 1866. In 1866, the French convinced King Noodles to move the capital from here to Phnom Penh. So this one was abandoned, but they still build many stupas and many Buddhas out here. The grounds are huge and it is beautiful. It is easy to see why this site was originally chosen for the capital. It has strategic views of what would have then been a large forested area. Oudong is truly a magical place to explore. And while it was a much longer trip than what we had originally anticipated, it is a journey we are very glad to have made. And being here during the holiday made Oudong take on an even greater significance. If you visit Cambodia, you need to be aware of its tumultuous and not too distant history. And while it's hard to fully comprehend or make sense of the genocide in which nearly 2 million people, or 25% of the country's entire population, was killed, it should not be ignored either. And while a visit to the Killing Fields Genocide Center is a humbling and terribly sad experience, it also gives a deeper perspective into the psyche of this beautiful and welcoming country. Despite its difficult past, Cambodia is racing into the future. It's hard to grasp all the changes that have taken place here. When I was last here 8 years ago, there were 2 tall buildings. Today, skyscrapers compete for a space in the skyline. There is construction happening everywhere. The Airbnb we're staying in is on the 26th floor of a brand new skyscraper. It is super modern and only $34 a night. And the entire top floor is a swimming pool, and you cannot beat the view. Cambodia was my first introduction to Asia when I came here 8 years ago, and it holds a special place in my heart. There is truly something unique here, and you see it every day in the smiling and welcoming faces of complete strangers. Phnom Penh has changed a lot since my first visit, but it still has that chaotic and fun vibe that I found so captivating on my first trip here. And I know that many people opt to begin their Southeast Asia trips in Thailand, but I think that Cambodia, and Phnom Penh in particular, is a perfect place to start any adventure.